Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're looking into Verizon. Yeah, to see if it might be a good fit for your portfolio.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of sources here, Wikipedia and Zacks Investment Research, even some white charts financial data.
Wow. A lot of information.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Think of this as like your own little fact-finding mission before you make any investment decisions.
Love it. Verizon's story is pretty fascinating.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's really intertwined with like the entire history of the American telecommunications industry. So,
Right.
it was formed way back in 2000 from a merger between Bell Atlantic and GTE.
Right.
Both of those companies came out of the breakup of the Bell system back in 1984.
Oh,
So
okay.
basically, Verizon's one of the few companies around today that can trace its lineage like all the way back to the original Baby Bells.
Wow, that's a long history. All right, well, let's jump into their financials. What do we have?
Okay.
So in 2023, their revenue was a huge US $133.974 billion. Wow. Operating income was US $22.877 billion. And their net income was US $12.095 billion.
All right.
But looking back at their financials, like from 2005 all the way to 2023,
Yeah.
their revenue, it's more than doubled.
Yeah.
But their net income, that's been a bit more,
Volatile.
yeah, volatile, even going negative back in 2008.
Right. But what's interesting is even with that volatility, Verizon's maintained a really strong market position.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the biggest wireless carrier in the whole U.S.
Wow.
with a massive 114.2 million subscribers
Goodness.
as of September 30, 2024, and that makes them the 17th largest globally.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and they've also made some moves to diversify, go beyond just their core telecom business,
Okay.
Like back in 2015 they acquired AOL,
Right.
and then in 2017 they got Yahoo.
Yeah.
Although those were later spin-off.
Interesting. Well, speaking of diversification, Verizon's been making some big moves in 5G.
They have.
They started rolling out their 5G network back in April 2019
Mm-hmm.
and had coverage in 30 cities by the end of that year.
Wow.
Their strategy uses that millimeter wave spectrum,
Right.
which lets them get super fast speeds.
Yeah.
But it has some limitations, like in terms of range and penetration, especially inside buildings.
That's the trade-off. Now let's talk about valuation.
Okay.
One thing to look at is the price book, the PB ratio,
Right.
which is currently sitting at 2.97 for Verizon.
Okay.
This means that the market is valuing Verizon at almost 3 times its book value.
Interesting.
So for context, the median PB for the S&P 500 is a bit above 3.
Okay.
So Verizon seems to be trading at a slight discount compared to the overall market.
All right. Another thing to look at is the price-sales ratio.
The PS.
Yeah, the PS ratio, which is at 8.86 for Verizon.
Okay.
This basically tells us how much investors are willing to pay for each dollar of their sales.
Right.
Now, a PS under 2 is generally considered to be good, so Verizon's is quite a lot higher. The last valuation metric we'll look at is the earnings yield, which is 1.28 for Verizon.
Got it.
This one helps investors figure out the potential return on their investment based on the company's earnings.
Makes sense. So one of Verizon's most recent and biggest moves was their acquisition of Frontier Communications,
Oh,
which they announced in September 2024 for $20 billion.
wow, that's a lot.
It is. This deal's supposed to really boost Verizon's fiber network and solidify their place in the broadband market,
Okay.
which is becoming even more important as the telecom world changes.
Yeah, for sure. And it's important to remember that Verizon isn't just a wireless company.
Yeah, right.
They offer a bunch of different services like internet, traditional phone service, VoIP, home security, premium television, web hosting, even wholesale data services.
Wow, they do it all.
Yeah, they do a lot. And they deliver all these services across 9 states in the eastern U.S.,
Okay.
including big markets like New York City, Boston, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C.
Yeah, some major areas. Now, beyond just their services and financials, we should look at their wider economic impact.
Oh.
As of 2023, Verizon employs a ton of people, about 105,400.
Wow.
And they've pledged to retrain 500,000 employees for emerging tech jobs.
That's good.
Yeah, it shows they're focused on the future of their workforce. But
Well, there.
they've also gotten some heat for their lobbying expenditures, which have been pretty high in the past.
Interesting. So let's get down to it. What are the pros and cons of actually owning Verizon stock?
Right.
On the plus side, They are the leading wireless carrier in the U.S.
Right.
They have a diversified business model, which brings in revenue from many sources.
Uh-huh.
And they've got a history of paying dividends, which is good for investors looking for income.
Definitely. But there are some downsides to consider.
Okay.
The telecom market is pretty mature, meaning growth is slow.
Right.
Plus, there's a lot of competition.
Uh-huh.
And Verizon's got a hefty amount of debt because of acquisitions and network investments. And the industry is super regulated, which can sometimes affect profits.
Yeah, that's true. So let's dive a bit deeper into Verizon's dividend policy and their share buyback program.
Okay.
We know they've consistently paid dividends.
Right.
But how consistent are those payouts, and what's the yield looking like right now?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It'd be great to understand how their share buyback program has affected their stock value over time.
Okay. Well, Verizon has a really solid track record when it comes to consistent dividend payouts, which can be a major plus for investors looking for income, especially in a market where reliability is so important.
Yeah, definitely.
And their share buyback program, over time, it's helped reduce the number of outstanding shares,
Right.
which can boost earnings per share and potentially increase the value of the remaining share.
That makes sense. Those are definitely important factors for investors looking for steady returns.
Yeah.
And what about their commitment to ESG, those environmental, social, and governance factors? We know they've promised to be carbon neutral by 2035.
Yeah.
And they've issued those green bonds.
Mm-hmm.
But what are they actually doing to reach those goals?
Yeah.
And how do those initiatives stack up against their competitors?
Good point. Well, Verizon's commitment to ESG is definitely something to note.
Okay.
They're not just talking the talk, they're actually taking action.
Like what?
They're putting money into renewable energy and using energy-efficient tech across their operations.
Oh, okay.
These moves put them ahead of a lot of their competition when it comes to sustainability.
That's good to hear, and it aligns with what a lot of investors are looking for these days.
Absolutely.
So let's circle back to our main question.
Okay.
Is Verizon a good fit for your portfolio?
Right.
We've looked at their history, their strong market position, their diverse services, financials, recent acquisitions, their commitment to ESG, and their efforts to reward shareholders.
It's a lot to consider.
It is, but we also need to keep in mind the challenges they face, like a mature market, a heavy debt load, and tough competition.
Definitely. You're absolutely right. We got to weigh both the good and the bad.
Yeah.
If you're looking for steady dividends and a commitment to sustainability, Verizon could be worth a look.
Okay.
But if you want high growth potential and you're not worried about immediate income, there might be better options out there.
It all depends on your goals, your risk tolerance, and your overall portfolio strategy.
Exactly.
We've given you the info and the insights to help you make an educated decision.
Right.
Now it's up to you to dig deeper into what interests you.
Yeah.
And decide if Verizon really aligns with your investment objectives.
I agree. And remember, investing always has risks.
That's true.
It's important to understand them. Think about your investment horizon and only invest what you can afford to lose.
Right.
And diversification is key.
Yeah. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And keep in mind that the telecom world is always changing.
It is.
New tech and market trends pop up all the time.
Right.
And those can impact a company's performance and their future.
Definitely.
So stay up to date on the industry and be ready to adjust your investment strategy if needed.
Absolutely. The telecom landscape is, it's really dynamic right now, especially with 5G rolling out.
Yeah.
And telecom and media are starting to converge more and more.
Interesting.
So, these trends present both opportunities and challenges for companies like Verizon.
Right.
It'll be fascinating to see how they handle it all.
It will. So as you're thinking about whether Verizon is right for your portfolio, ask yourself, do I believe in their long-term strategy? Can they really compete in this fast-changing market?
Right.
And am I okay with the level of risk involved?
Good questions. Those are really crucial questions.
Yeah.
And while we've given you a good overview, we encourage you to do your own research, explore different opinions, and come to your own conclusions.
It's all about being an informed investor.
Exactly.
Informed investors are empowered investors.
They are.
Take what you've learned from our deep dive into Verizon. Use your own analysis. And make the decision that works for you and your investment goals.
Sounds good.
So we're wrapping up our deep dive into Verizon.
Yeah.
Hopefully this was helpful.
I think so.
As you're thinking about your own investments, we always tell our listeners, Do your own research, your own due diligence before making any decisions.
Absolutely, that's key. And remember, what works for one person might not work for another.
Right.
It's all about tailoring your strategy to you.
Yeah, to your needs, your risk tolerance, and your financial goals.
Exactly. You got to think for yourself. Invest wisely.
Don't just follow the crowd.
Yeah, that's good advice.
We'd love to hear what you think about Verizon, though.
Yeah, let us know.
Head over to the comments section on our YouTube channel and share your thoughts, your perspectives.
And while you're there, subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, so you don't miss our future deep dives.
And tell us what companies you want us to look at next.
Yeah, we're always up for a challenge.
Absolutely.
We want to give you the info you need to make smart choices.
That's our goal.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Happy investing, everyone.